Have you ever noticed that reality sometimes feels like it's sending you signals? The same number shows up on clocks and receipts. A dream feels so real that the next day unfolds like a replay. The sense of déjà vu that stops you mid-step because you've lived this moment before. These aren't coincidences. They are invitations. You didn't land here by accident. The quantum field selected you. And that's why these words are now crossing your awareness. For years, you've heard the story of the observer effect. That consciousness collapses probability waves. That attention shapes outcomes. That focus directs reality. And yes, that's true, but only at the surface. The observer effect is not the final key. It's just the doorway, the gateway into something deeper, something more powerful. Because beyond observation lies the hidden mechanism that most people never discover, the reality shift that happens before the act of observing. Right now, as you read this, your reality is already shifting. Tiny ripples are forming in the invisible script of your life. The choices you make, the emotions you carry, the awareness you hold, all of these are rewriting your timeline in real time. The observer effect shows you that attention creates reality. But the secret waiting to be revealed is that your frequency is already selecting the stage on which your life unfolds. You're not just observing, you're authoring. This is why you're here. Because the truth is stirring inside you, and once you understand what lies beyond the observer effect, you'll never experience reality the same way again. Have you ever felt like your life is playing on repeat? As if you're stuck inside a song that never changes? The conversations feel familiar. The challenges repeat with different faces. And no matter what you do, the same patterns keep looping back. This isn't just bad luck or coincidence. What you are experiencing is what quantum researchers and mystics alike describe as the observer loop. The observer loop happens when your awareness unconsciously collapses the same set of probabilities over and over again. Instead of stepping into new realities, your consciousness gravitates toward what feels familiar. Even if it's painful or limiting, it's like being caught in a holographic glass box. Every direction you turn, you see the same reflection staring back at you. The faces may change, the details may shift, but the core storyline doesn't. Think about it. How many times have you promised yourself you would change, only to find yourself months or even years later repeating the same emotional reactions, the same relationship dynamics, the same inner struggles? It feels as if no matter how hard you try, you're pulled back into the old script. That's the power of the observer loop. It doesn't just record your past, it projects it forward, locking you into a cycle where yesterday keeps becoming tomorrow. But here's the truth. The loop is not permanent. The very fact that you can recognize it means you've already started to weaken its hold. Awareness is the first crack in the glass. The first sign that you're not just trapped, you're awakening. And once the loop is revealed, the possibility of breaking it becomes inevitable. Have you noticed how time no longer feels stable? Sometimes minutes stretch like hours, and simple routines drag endlessly. Other times, entire weeks vanish in a blur, leaving you wondering where they went. This isn't just poor memory or distraction. It's a sign that your consciousness is cycling through the same probability templates, giving the illusion of movement while keeping you in the same place. When you are caught in the observer loop, time bends unnaturally. The reason is simple. Your awareness is not exploring new reality tracks. Instead, it's circling through the same structures again and again. Imagine a clock whose hands spin, yet never move forward to a new day. That's what distorted time feels like. Your inner experience says things are shifting, but your outer reality remains eerily unchanged. This distortion creates frustration. You set intentions. You try new methods. You push forward. But somehow life still feels stationary. Relationships repeat patterns. Opportunities recycle themselves. And growth feels stalled. It's like running on a treadmill. You sweat. You exert effort, but the scenery never changes. Yet there's something deeper happening here. Time distortion is not punishment. It's evidence that your consciousness is brushing against the boundaries of the loop. The stretching and collapsing of time is your soul's way of signaling that the script is losing coherence. Every déjà vu, every moment where time feels wrong, is not failure. It's a whisper that you're close to a breakthrough. Beneath the repetition and time distortion lies something even more subtle, the invisible script that runs your life. This script is not written in words, but in frequency. It is composed of the emotions you repeat, the beliefs you carry, and the choices you unconsciously make every day, like a hidden code. It directs the scenes of your reality without you ever seeing the lines. Most people think they are making fresh decisions, but in truth, they are acting out pre-written roles. The job that feels strangely familiar, the relationship that ends just like the last one, the opportunities that circle back with different faces. These are not accidents. They are expressions of the invisible script. The field of reality organizes itself around your unconscious frequency, recycling the same outcomes again and again. This is why so many feel stuck despite their efforts. They read books, practice technique, push for change, yet the deeper patterns remain untouched. Because as long as the script is running, the play cannot change. You may switch costumes, move to a new stage, even bring in new characters, but the storyline remains the same. But here is the hidden key. The script is not permanent ink. It is written in sand. And the moment you become aware of it, the wind of consciousness begins to erase it. The very recognition that your life has been guided by an invisible script is the first act of liberation. Awareness cracks the illusion of stability and opens the door to authentic transformation. One of the clearest signs that your reality is shifting is the sudden flood of synchronicities. Numbers appear in patterns. 11, 11, 222, 333 showing up on clocks. Receipts. Ordlicense plates. A stranger says exactly the phrase you've been silently repeating in your head. A book falls from a shelf, carrying the answer you didn't even know you were seeking. These are not coincidences. They are quantum echoes. Signals that your consciousness is aligning with a new frequency. Dreams also become more vivid, almost more real than waking life. You find yourself visiting places you've never been, talking with people who carry impossible wisdom, or witnessing events that later unfold in the physical world. These are not random firings of the brain. They are what mystics call training grounds, where your awareness practices navigating multiple probability streams during sleep. Together, synchronicities and dreams serve as markers. They announce that your unconscious is awakening into conscious recognition. Most people dismiss these experiences as chance or imagination. But you know better. Something stirs in your chest when they happen, a subtle thrill, a deep resonance. It feels like reality is winking at you, letting you know that the old rules no longer apply. When synchronicities multiply and dreams intensify, it's not just entertainment for the mind. It's your quantum self whispering, "You're ready. You've crossed the threshold." The field is speaking directly to you now. Another unmistakable sign that your reality is already shifting is the presence of glitches. These are moments when the ordinary fabric of life seems to tear slightly, revealing something beyond the script. You walk into a room and feel as though you've been there before, down to the smallest detail. A conversation unfolds exactly word for word as you recall it from a dream. Technology malfunctions for no logical reason. Your phone freezes. Lights flicker. Computers crash only to stabilize the moment your emotional state shifts. What's really happening in these moments is not error, but revelation. The universe is showing you that reality isn't as solid as most people assume. These glitches are tiny cracks in the matrix, proof that your consciousness is slipping between probability fields, You are witnessing reality from more than one angle at the same time. And here's where attention comes in. The quantum field behaves like a spotlight. Whatever you focus on brightens, while the rest fades into shadow. When your awareness lands on a detail, it doesn't just notice it, it activates it. This is why repeating numbers, strange patterns, hors déjà vu keep appearing. They're not random. They're reflecting your growing ability to collapse probability into experience. You may have noticed that the more you pay attention, the more these glitches multiply. It's as though reality is responding to your gaze, reorganizing itself around your frequency. This is not imagination. It's quantum responsiveness. You're no longer a passive observer, you've become a participant in the script itself. The paradox is this: glitches often feel unsettling, but they're actually proof that you're awakening. Most people overlook them, dismiss them, or numb themselves with distractions. But you notice, you pause, you feel the pull of mystery. And in that pause, something extraordinary happens. Your attention becomes the lever that shifts worlds. If synchronicities and glitches are the signs, then emotional magnetism is the engine. Reality bends, not to your wishes alone, but to the frequency of your emotional state. Fear attracts experiences that confirm fear. Love magnetizes encounters that expand love. Frustration keeps pulling in obstacles, while gratitude multiplies openings and flow. Most people believe their emotions are private, invisible to the outside world, but in truth, emotions radiate like frequencies, broadcasting into the quantum field. Every thought you repeat, every feeling you dwell in, generates an electromagnetic signature that shapes which probabilities collapse into your timeline. You don't just feel emotions, you transmit them, and the field responds accordingly. Think back to moments when you were angry or anxious. Didn't it feel like problems appeared out of nowhere? Traffic jams, technology breaking, people snapping at you? And on the other hand, when you felt grateful or inspired, didn't doors seem to open? Synchronicities multiply, and life flow with uncanny ease. These are not accidents. They are feedback loops showing you that the universe is listening, always mirroring your state back to you. This is why awakening feels so disorienting at first. You realize you are not simply reacting to life. Life is reacting to you. Your inner landscape is the scriptwriter, and your outer world is the stage. The magnetic field of your heart is literally sculpting your experiences in real time. The hidden truth is this: when you master your emotional magnetism, you master reality navigation. You no longer see challenges as punishments but as mirrors. You stop chasing external control and begin cultivating inner coherence. And the moment your inner state stabilizes at higher frequencies, the script outside can no longer repeat the old loops. It must shift to match your new resonance. For decades, the observer effect has been presented as the ultimate key to reality creation. You've been told that your attention collapses probability waves into outcomes, that whatever you focus on becomes your experience. And while this is true, it is only the surface layer of a much deeper phenomenon. The observer effect is the doorway, not the destination. Think of it this way: when you shine a flashlight into a dark room, you see what the beam illuminates. That doesn't mean the rest of the room doesn't exist, it simply remains hidden. The observer effect is like that flashlight. It explains how your consciousness highlights certain possibilities, but it doesn't tell you why you chose that particular direction in the first place. Something deeper decides where you point the beam. Most people stop at the surface. They try to think positive, visualize, or force their attention on outcomes they desire. And sometimes it works, but often it doesn't. Why? Because the observer effect is only half the picture. You may collapse possibilities with observation, but if your underlying frequency is misaligned, you'll keep collapsing realities that repeat the old patterns. This is why you've experienced frustration even after learning about manifestation or law of attraction. You can focus all you want, but if your nervous system is tuned to fear, scarcity, or doubt, the field responds to that hidden broadcast. Observation shapes reality. Yes, but it's not the root mechanism. It's just the visible ripple of a deeper current flowing beneath consciousness. The real shift begins when you realize the observer effect is not the end of the story. It's the invitation to look behind the curtain. It's the surface layer that hints at a more profound truth, that before observation comes selection. And before selection comes embodiment. Before your eyes ever land on a possibility, before your mind decides what to focus on, there is a hidden selection taking place. This selection doesn't happen in thought. It doesn't come from effort, willpower, or visualization. It happens in frequency. It happens in the silent language of your nervous system, the electromagnetic field of your heart, the vibration you carry into every moment. Imagine standing in front of a vast library of timelines. Each book represents a different reality. One where you succeed, one where you struggle, one where you meet love, one where you face loss. The observer effect is the act of opening a book and reading its story, but the hidden selection is the moment before that, when your energy field chooses which shelf you even walk toward. You never open all the books. You only approach the section that resonates with your frequency. This is why two people can live in the same city, face similar circumstances, and yet experience completely different lives. Their observations collapse probabilities. Yes, but their hidden selections determine which probabilities are even available to observe. It's not luck, it's resonance. And here's the secret. The hidden selection is always active, even when you're not conscious of it. Every unresolved belief, every emotion you carry, every vibration you embody makes a silent choice for you. It's like a quantum script writer working backstage, assigning roles before the curtain rises. By the time your conscious mind observes, the stage has already been set. This explains why simply thinking positive often feels empty. Thoughts without resonance have no magnetic pull. True selection doesn't happen in the head, it happens in the field. The moment you embody coherence, the library shifts. Entire shelves of higher timelines swing open. And suddenly, what once felt impossible becomes the only story available for you to read. Most people try to shape reality by observing harder, visualizing, affirming, repeating intentions, focusing on what they want. And sometimes, yes, it works, but often the results fade. And the old patterns return. Why? Because observation is not enough. The quantum field doesn't respond to what you think, it responds to what you are. This is the deeper truth. You don't attract what you want, you align with what you embody. To embody means to live the frequency before the evidence appears. It's like tuning a radio. You don't just stare at the dial hoping for music. You adjust your vibration until the station comes in clearly. Observation notices the music, but embodiment is what tunes the dial in the first place. Consider this: when you embody joy, you don't have to chase joyful experiences, they magnetize to you. When you embody scarcity, you don't need to affirm lack, life mirrors it automatically. Observation shapes probabilities, but embodiment selects the field itself. It determines which realities are even available to collapse. This is why the most profound shifts often happen when you stop trying. In moments of surrender, when you drop the struggle and simply be the frequency of peace, love, or coherence, the field reorganizes effortlessly. Reality bends not because you force it, but because you've become indistinguishable from the timeline you wish to experience. Embodiment is the hidden power behind every quantum jump. It dissolves the gap between desire and reality. Instead of observing from the outside, you step inside the role. Wear it. Breathe it. Live it until the universe has no choice but to reflect it back. The shift is this: Stop asking, "How can I see the reality I want?" and start asking, "How can I become the reality I want?" When observation ends, embodiment begins, and that's when the script truly rewrites itself. Here's the revelation most people never realize. You've already been shifting timelines your entire life. Every déjà vu you've experienced, every sudden change in direction, every person who appeared in your path at the perfect moment, all of these were proof that your consciousness was sliding between probability streams. Think about the times you felt like you were living in a rerun, only to make one small decision that changed everything. Maybe you missed a bus and met someone who altered the course of your journey. Maybe you followed an intuition and avoided a situation that could have harmed you. These weren't accidents. They were quantum jumps, moments where your hidden selection pulled you into a different timeline than the one you were on just seconds before. You see, shifting doesn't always look dramatic. Most of the time, it's subtle, almost imperceptible, like walking through an invisible doorway. One moment you're in a version of reality where the conversation ends in conflict, and the next, you're in a version where understanding blooms instead. One moment, the opportunity doesn't exist, and the next, the phone rings with the offer you'd been waiting for. The reason you've felt time distortions, synchronicities, and glitches is because your consciousness is brushing against parallel versions of yourself. These overlaps are not illusions, they're evidence. You're literally feeling the edges where two timelines rub together. The secret is that you don't have to learn how to shift, you're already doing it. The question is whether you'll keep shifting unconsciously, dragged by unresolved frequencies, or step into the role of conscious navigator. Because once you see the truth, that every choice, every emotion, every moment of awareness is already shifting your trajectory, you can no longer deny your power. The doorway is open, and now, you're beginning to realize you've been walking through it all along. Here's the hidden truth almost no one tells you. The real quantum shift doesn't happen through control, but through coherence and surrender. Most people believe they have to force reality into shape, visualize harder, affirm louder, push stronger. But in the quantum field, control creates resistance. The tighter you grip, the more fragmented your frequency becomes, and the harder reality pushes back. Coherence means that your thoughts, emotions, and body are vibrating in harmony. No inner conflict, no hidden doubt. When your heart and mind agree, your field becomes a single tone, a clear broadcast that the universe mirrors back with precision. This is why practices of stillness, breath, and gratitude are so powerful. They pull your scattered energy into alignment, tuning you like an instrument until your vibration rings pure. Surrender does not mean giving up. It means releasing the illusion of control and allowing the field to organize reality around your coherence. Imagine a river. When you fight the current, you exhaust yourself. When you surrender, the current carries you exactly where you need to go. The quantum field works the same way. It's not your job to force the timeline. It's your job to embody the state that makes the right timeline inevitable. The paradox is this: the more you surrender, the more powerful you become. Because surrender doesn't make you passive, it makes you coherent. And coherence is irresistible to the field. It bends probability. It rearranges circumstances. It rewrites the invisible script without struggle. This is the secret most seekers miss. They think the shift is about doing more, trying harder, but the truth is simpler. Coherence sets the frequency, and surrender allows the field to lock it in. Together, they create the silent but unstoppable force that breaks the observer loop and moves you into the life you were always meant to live. There comes a moment on the path when you realize there is no going back. The shift has already happened. You may still feel echoes of the old self, but the script that once bound you is dissolving. This is the point of no return, the irreversible threshold. where your consciousness has expanded too far to ever fit inside the old box again. The mind will try to convince you otherwise. It will whisper that nothing has changed, that you're imagining things, that you'll fall back into the same loops. But the truth is written in your very being. The old vibrations no longer feel comfortable. The old choices no longer hold power. You are outgrowing the frequency that once defined you, and reality has no choice but to respond. This is why the glitches increased. This is why synchronicities multiplied. This is why déjà vu became undeniable. The field has been showing you again and again, you are no longer the same. And because frequency precedes form, the external world must rearrange itself to match the new you. So let this be your declaration. My shift is irreversible. Say it aloud. Feel it in your chest. Breathe it into your body. This is not just affirmation, it is an activation. The field responds when you embody conviction. With every cell aligned to that truth, you collapse the possibility of returning to the old timeline. You don't need to force the future. You don't need to prove your worth. The shift has already begun, and it cannot be undone. You are living evidence that once consciousness awakens, it never returns to sleep. Stand in that truth. Declare it, because the moment you do, the universe reorganizes around your frequency, and reality itself bows to your irreversible shift. Here is the paradox most seekers never see. The more you try to fix the old self, the more you reinforce it. Every time you repeat, I need to heal this. I need to fix that. I need to overcome my flaws. You are still identifying with the outdated frequency. You are polishing the cage instead of stepping out of it. The old self was built from past vibrations, beliefs of limitation, memories of pain, patterns of fear. No amount of repair will transform it into the new you, because the new you is not an upgrade of the old script. It is an entirely different frequency, one that cannot be reached by rearranging the old lines. Think of it like trying to tune a radio station. You don't keep adjusting the static, hoping it will turn into music. You change the frequency. Likewise, the solution is not to endlessly fix the old self, but to embody the new self right now. Step into the version of you who already lives on the timeline you desire. Feel their energy. Think their thoughts. Act as they would act. When you stop obsessing over repairing the past, you free your energy to embody the future. And the moment you do, the quantum field reorganizes around your new broadcast. The old self dissolves not because you defeated it, but because you simply stopped feeding it. Shifts don't always require grand ceremonies or months of effort. Often, it's the smallest acts, done with intention, that collapse the old loop and anchor you into the new timeline. These are mini rituals, simple, powerful practices that signal the quantum field. The old script ends now. Ritual 1, 3 breaths of release. Close your eyes and take 3 deep, deliberate breaths. With each inhale, imagine drawing in the frequency of your highest self. With each exhale, imagine releasing the weight of the old loop. By the 3rd breath, feel your chest expand with coherence, as if the new timeline is already breathing you. Ritual 2, the script ends here. Write 1 sentence on a piece of paper. This loop ends now. Feel the finality in your hand as you write it. Then rip it, burn it, or shred it. As the paper dissolves, declare inwardly, I am no longer bound to the old storyline. The action imprints your subconscious with closure. Ritual 3, hand on heart coherence. Place your hand on your chest. Slow your breath and whisper, I am coherent with my highest timeline. Stay with the feeling until your body softens. This ritual anchors you daily, reminding your nervous system that coherence is the true signal that rewrites reality. None of these rituals are about force. They are about frequency. The physical action gives your body and subconscious something tangible, while your awareness directs the shift These small acts are like keys turning in a lock. Suddenly, the door of the new timeline swings open. When you practice even one of these rituals, you stop fighting the loop and start embodying the shift. And in the quantum field, embodiment always wins. Many rituals open the door, but embodiment is how you stay in the new room. The key is not just shifting once it's living daily as if the shift is already complete. This is what anchors you into your chosen timeline and prevents you from slipping back into the unconscious loop. Embodiment begins with small, intentional acts. When you wake up, don't immediately dive into old patterns of worry or distraction. Place your hand on your heart and whisper, "I am coherent with my highest timeline." This simple act sets the frequency of your day. Instead of reacting to life, you broadcast coherence first, and reality aligns accordingly. Throughout the day, practice micro-choices that reflect your future self. Ask, how would the version of me who already lives in this new timeline respond right now? Maybe they would pause instead of rushing. Maybe they would speak with compassion instead of frustration. Maybe they would say yes to an opportunity instead of letting fear decide. Every small choice is a declaration that the old script is no longer running, even in ordinary routines. Embodiment transforms everything. Drinking water becomes a reminder that you are nourishing the body of your future self. Walking down the street becomes a meditation on living in a reality that already belongs to you. These small acts accumulate, reinforcing the frequency until the new self is no longer a vision, it is your natural state. The truth is this: embodiment is not about perfection, it's about repetition. Each time you choose coherence over chaos, presence over autopilot, the quantum field takes notice. Eventually, the shift stabilizes, and the old loop dissolves not because you fought it, but because you lived beyond it. You are not here by coincidence. Out of billions of people, you are one of the few who is awakening to the truth of the shift. This is not random, it is selection. The quantum field does not scatter awareness by chance. It magnetizes those whose frequency has ripened, those who are ready to carry the light of a new timeline. Think about it. How many around you are still asleep, repeating the same patterns without question? Yet here you are, questioning reality itself. That difference is not small. It means your consciousness has already crossed a threshold. You've become sensitive to synchronicities, to glitches, to whispers of the field. These are signs of recognition, signals that the universe has marked you as a participant in the awakening. Being chosen doesn't make you superior, it makes you responsible. Your shift is not only for you. Each step you take into coherence ripples outward, helping others remember what they come to have forgotten. You are part of the early wave, a lighthouse in the fog, showing that another way of being is possible. So when doubt arises, remember, you wouldn't even be receiving this message if you weren't ready. The field has already chosen you. Now the choice is whether you will accept that role fully. Every shift you embody is never just personal. The moment your frequency changes, you contribute to what biologist Rupert Sheldrake called morphic resonance, the invisible field of memory that connects all living beings. When you break a loop, it becomes easier for someone else to break theirs. When you stabilize coherence, you strengthen coherence across the collective. Think of humanity as an ocean. Each person is a drop, yet every drop creates ripples. When you shift, your ripple extends outward, touching countless others, even those you may never meet. A mother somewhere suddenly feels calmer. A stranger feels inspired to make a brave choice. A child finds courage to speak their truth. These subtle changes are not coincidence, they are resonance. The field echoing your transformation. This is why your awakening matters. It's not selfish, it's service. By embodying a higher timeline, you are silently broadcasting the possibility of that timeline to others. Your coherence gives them permission to remember their own. And here's the profound truth: you don't need to preach, convince, or prove anything. Your state of being does the work. Just by existing in resonance, you become a catalyst. You are not only shifting your life, you are helping shift the collective field of humanity. Once you realize the power of embodiment and resonance, something profound happens. You stop chasing reality, and reality begins to orbit around you. You become what can only be described as a walking quantum transmitter. Your very presence radiates frequency, and that frequency shapes the field for everyone you encounter. Think about the people who walk into a room and instantly change the atmosphere without speaking. They calm tension, inspire trust, or spark joy. That isn't charisma, it's resonance. Their nervous system is broadcasting coherence, and everyone nearby unconsciously tunes to it. The same is true for you. The more you embody your highest timeline, the more your presence becomes a living transmission of that timeline. This is why your shift matters far beyond your personal story. Every interaction becomes an opportunity to ripple coherence into the field. A smile, a steady breath, a compassionate word, these are not small gestures. They are quantum transmissions that alter probability, creating openings for others to align with higher versions of themselves. The hidden power is this: you don't have to try. Transmission happens naturally. Just by living in resonance, you broadcast possibility. You walk as proof that a new reality is already here, and those who are ready will feel it. Even if they can't explain why, you are no longer just living a life. You are transmitting a frequency that helps rewrite the field of humanity itself. Every collective shift begins with a first wave. A small group awakens before the rest. Not because they are better, but because they are designed to carry the light early. You are part of this wave. That's why synchronicities pulled you here. Why your awareness has sharpened. Why the old world feels too heavy to carry anymore. The first wave often feels lonely. You look around and wonder why others don't see what you see. Conversations feel shallow. Old patterns unbearable. But this is not a mistake. It is the natural tension of being ahead of the curve. You are not lost. You are paving the road that others will walk more easily because of you. Think of pioneers crossing unknown lands. Their journey was harder, but their courage opened pathways for entire generations. In the same way, your awakening is not just for you. Every step you take into coherence, every loop you break, every act of embodiment plants a marker in the collective field. Those who come after will feel it, and their path will be lighter because you walked first. So when you feel the weight of being different, remember, you are the evidence that awakening is real. You are the first wave, the forerunner, and because of you, the tide of collective awakening has already begun. The awakening of one soul never stops with one, it ripples outward, like a drop falling into an endless ocean. The moment you shift, you create waves of possibility that travel far beyond your personal life. Even if you never see the impact, the field records it. Every act of coherence, every moment of courage, every declaration of truth adds to the collective frequency of humanity. Imagine the ocean of reality as a living hologram, shimmering with countless probabilities. When you rise into a higher frequency, you send ripples across that ocean. Someone on the other side of the world may suddenly feel a spark of hope. Another may awaken from a dream with clarity. A child may sense permission to be authentic. None of these effects are random. They are the resonance of your wave moving through the collective waters. This is why the idea of being too small to matter is an illusion. The ocean does not ask how large the drop is. It simply responds, and when enough drops vibrate at a new frequency, the entire tide turns. The collective begins to flow toward timelines of healing, cooperation, and awakening. Your role is not to control the ocean, but to contribute your ripple. Trust that your shift joins countless others, weaving a tide too powerful to be stopped. And as the waves converge, Humanity discovers itself swimming in an ocean of possibilities greater than anything the old world could imagine. Every individual awakening feeds into something far greater, a collective upgrade of humanity. What once felt like isolated shifts in personal lives are now converging into a global wave. This is not the end of the world. It is the end of an old operating system and the installation of a new one. The old system was built on fear, separation, and survival. It trained us to compete, to hoard, to see life as a struggle against limited resources. But as more individuals rise into coherence, the field begins rewriting itself. Collaboration replaces competition. Compassion outshines fear. Creativity blossoms in spaces where scarcity once reigned. This is humanity's upgrade, not in technology, but in consciousness. It is the shift from linear, fragmented thinking to holographic awareness. From me to we. From surviving the world to co-creating it. You are living in the dawn of that new collective. A time when more and more people are remembering that we are not separate drops. We are the ocean itself, becoming aware of its vastness. The upgrade is not a distant prophecy. It is happening now. Each time you embody a higher frequency, your coherence uploads new information into the collective field, and the field distributes it across humanity like a living network. One by one, minds awaken, hearts synchronize, a species transforms. You are not just witnessing the upgrade, you are part of the code being rewritten. You've seen it now. The observer effect was only the beginning. Reality has already been shifting around you, guided by your hidden selections, shaped by your embodiment, amplified through coherence and surrender. You are not waiting for the shift, it is already here. The only question is, will you claim it fully? The loops that once trapped you are dissolving. The old self no longer fits. You are standing at the threshold of an upgraded humanity, carrying the frequency of the new world inside your very being. And with every choice, every breath, every act of coherence, you are helping anchor this awakening not only for yourself, but for all. So let this be your declaration. My shift is irreversible. Embody my highest timeline now. Speak it aloud. Write it in the comments below as a signature of your awakening. This is not just a ritual, it is an agreement with the field. The moment you declare it, the universe echoes back. So it is. Remember, you are not here by accident. You are part of the first wave, a living transmitter of coherence, a ripple in the ocean that becomes a tide, and the tide has already turned. The shift is real. The shift is now, and you are the proof.